Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. First tonight, Prime Minister Scott Morrison has spruiked a major funding commitment for mental health services during his visit to the north of the state. But the $55 million pledge has already been signed, sealed and delivered, no matter who wins government on May 21.
Giving mental health advocates a seat at the table.
To live with the challenges of mental health, it requires a lot of strength.
The PM announcing much-needed support for the sector while visiting the marginal seat of Bass, the issue close to Bridget Archer's heart, opening up about her own struggles.
I have anxiety and panic disorders and having a bit of a panic attack when I walked in here this morning, so I'm in the right place.
The joint state and federal agreement includes 3 head-to-health clinics, a new headspace in Rosny Park, universal aftercare following a suicide attempt and perinatal screening services.
Helping to reach people with the right level of support, where they're at geographically, but also where they're at in their journey.
The Greens warn tackling the mental health crisis among young people goes further than throwing money at the problem.
If the Prime Minister actually wants to help solve the mental health issue that we're seeing, or the tsunami of mental health issues across young people, he could actually start by taking climate change seriously.
While the funding has been broadly welcomed, some have criticised a lack of preventative measures, including dedicated programs to help combat the stigma often associated with mental illness.
It's about people proactively seeking support and knowing how to seek that support before they've actually become unwell.
Federal Labor also has its sights set on the north of the state, promising $2.25 million for more crisis accommodation if elected.
By building extra emergency accommodation, we can help an extra 200 people a year across the north of Tasmania find safety.
Including 12 additional support workers to assist women and children facing homelessness.
A personal on-the-ground response is what people need when they're making such huge life choices.
Big promises that will need to be addressed no matter who is elected next week. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
The Department of Education Secretary has expressed his distress at the way an investigation was handled regarding allegations a teacher committed child sexual abuse in a state school. Tim Bullard told Tasmania's Commission of Inquiry the response at the time was woefully inadequate.
I came to this matter as one of the reviews of historic matters, and quite frankly, I was distressed reading the file and the way in which the allegations had been undertaken.
The inquiry will continue to probe responses to allegations of abuse across the state's school settings when hearings continue tomorrow. Tasmania has recorded another COVID-related death after a woman in her late 90s passed away at an aged care home in the state's south. 61 people have now lost their lives from the virus since 2020. COVID numbers remain steady today, with another 1,058 new infections and more than 5,500 active cases. 42 people are currently in hospital with COVID. 1 patient remains in ICU. Hundreds of people have attended a fiery public meeting in Hobart, slamming the University of Tasmania's planned move into the CBD. The Chancellor and Vice-Chancellor among the crowd, as opponents lashed out at the University and Hobart City Council, accusing them of ignoring community concerns.
Why has UTAS turned into a behemoth that shreds through its workers and imposes its unchecked will on the local community?
Our council should not have provided blanket and unconditional support to a property developer to support and facilitate their wishes, with zero evidence that it's in our best interests.
Critics claim the move from Sandy Bay will cause traffic chaos and hurt local businesses. Outcomes from last night's meeting will be considered by Council next week. They started the season smaller than ants, but the Jack Jumpers leave their first NBL campaign looking like lions. Their evolution from new kid on the block to NBL finalists came to an end last night, but not before earning the league's respect.
With their heads held high, the state's flag bearers came home gallant in defeat.
We gave it a hell of a crack.
And with everything against them, 2-0 down, a foreign land, the flu knocking out 2 key players, yet the feeling was raw.
It still feels like a sweep. The reality is that Sydney have been the best team all year.
But one the Jack Jumpers nearly toppled. Up by 3 at the final change, Tasmania's fatigued fighters went down swinging in the last, left to rue a royal flush.
All hail the Kings!
But if rival teams were Googling what a Jack Jumper was at season start, there's no mystery now as to who this side is and what it can achieve.
Credit to Tassie, they were terrific tonight. They gave us everything we could handle.
And I can't speak highly enough of the Jack Jumpers, man. I mean, to make the grand final in their first year, and the way they do it through unity, playing together and playing hard.
And no hard feelings from Scott Roth.
Our guys are relentless.
His open charter for character guys paying off. The Jack Jumpers made up a sizable part of last night's crowd of more than 16,000, a record for an NBL finals game.
When I put this team together, I was trying to find humble and hungry guys with character that were ready to do something different. And it's been a privilege to coach them, and they trusted me with their careers, and it's been impactful, and it snowballed obviously during the course of the season.
From unknown names to household names, next year the Jackies will march again. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Southern Tasmanian business has won the successful tender to establish a regional organic waste processing centre and reduce the state's carbon emissions, which will be capable of processing 100,000 tonnes of organic material each year.
Today we can announce that Barwicks has been the successful proponent for a $14 million project that will introduce a new state-of-the-art composting facility.
Not only food organics and garden organics bins, but we're also partnering with many industries and commercial players in the state to help divert their organic materials.
The project is expected to create 15 ongoing jobs. Tasmania's Transport Workers Union has delivered a letter to Jonathan Duniam calling out his alleged inaction towards improved working conditions. In 2019, the Senator voted against an inquiry into truck safety, which later recommended an independent body be established to relieve workload pressures.
United, we'll never be defeated. This same government that's been in power for 9 years, it tore down the road safety watchdog in 2016 and it put nothing in its place.
The Senator says he will take the union's correspondence into consideration. 26 truck drivers have died on Tasmanian roads since the tribunal was set down. 17 Tasmania police recruits from the state's north have begun putting pen to paper at the university's Newnham campus. It's the first time studies have been offered in northern Tasmania, and the newest trainees say the pilot program is a game changer.
I probably wouldn't have applied if it was in Hobart, but knowing that the opportunity to chase my dream had actually come up in Launceston, it was all go from there.
It's sort of time is right type scenario, and having this here in Launceston just made that so much easier for me and my family.
The course involves a combination of online and face-to-face learning, along with live stream lessons from the Rugby Police Academy. It's a day of global recognition as International Nurses Day sees healthcare workers receiving well-earned praise. A Tasmanian cancer survivor owes her recovery to a nurse who continued to show up when things took a turn for the worst.
A shock breast cancer diagnosis saw Donna Bonavia's life pulled from under her feet as an adverse reaction to chemotherapy treatment left her paralysed from the waist down.
The main things I was feeling was I would never see my children get married, I'd never see my grandson grow up.
But out of the darkness arose a stethoscoped angel dressed in pink, as specialised nurse Fiona Dean stepped in to guide Donna through her hospital journey.
To have someone on your team that does the little things and pulls the corners together is, I think, vital in influencing the experience of people going through a really traumatic time.
I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have Fiona. Every time I sent her a message and said I was having a down day, she'd be straight on the phone.
They're constantly immersed in other people's needs, but today we shift our attention to the nurses, recognising the sustained time, effort and devotion they dispense to patients.
The ANMF have been out in work sites across the state, meeting with members and thanking them personally and delivering a small gift of our acknowledgement.
It's a timely reminder to thank Tasmania's healthcare workers for all that they do, not only on International Nurses Day, but every day.
I always feel valued in the team, and I especially feel valued when I hear it from a patient. I love you too.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
One of the state's most luxurious lodgings has been recognised among the best in the world. Sapphire Freycinet picked up the title of Best Luxury Hotel in both Australia and the South Pacific, and was also awarded the 3rd best all-inclusive hotel worldwide. But that kind of luxury doesn't come cheap. The minimum 2-night stay in one of Sapphire's suites will set you back around $5,000.
A fourth quarter fade-out stopped the Jack Jumpers NBL finals march in its tracks. The Sydney Kings ran over Tasmania's depleted playing stocks to win 97-88, breaking a 17-year drought. There's no denying the Jack Jumpers love a scrap.
And drains another finals 3.
On a night the bright lights of Sydney wanted a show, it was Tasmania singing them opera.
McIntosh is left open and hurts them again.
Upending the script once again, Scott Roth found a smile. Could the Jack Jumpers pull off a miracle again?
Wow. Jock Perry, 2 made threes in Game 3 of a grand final series.
The Pez dispensing back-to-back three-pointers, setting up a blistering third quarter, featuring Josh Majet, as they say in the industry, from way downtown.
From deep, from very deep.
But that word we've heard for weeks, fairy tale, proved to be just that. This one didn't come true.
Cooks rolls to the basket, and the jam!
For the Kings, it's their first title in 17 years.
Sydney, the NBL 22 champions. 3-0 sweep of the Jack Jumpers.
Even still, the story's magic is still there.
It's Cinderella. It's everything great about sports.
But an unenviable record remains. The last time a Tasmanian basketball team won in Sydney was against the now defunct West Sydney West Stars in 1987. Breaking the Harbour City Hoodoo will be a clear goal next season.
Defend the island and make Tasmanians proud was our #1 priority all season, and unbelievable effort by our guys, and just super proud of them.
Forging a state proud of its new team. Now to boxing, a brave Leighton McFerrin has copped a beating from Olympics bronze medalist Harry Garside. Going for the Australian lightweight title, the Tasmanian was bloodied by a barrage of blows, but was never knocked down.
The pressure is pouring in, and there's not much coming back from Leighton McFerrin, who's now bloodied and taking big shots as a relentless Harry Garside pulls on the pressure.
The referee stepped in to stop the fight in the 7th round, despite McFerrin's protests. Garside was praised for his sportsmanship post-fight, raising the arm of his underdog rival. Tim Payne's playing career appears to be over. The former Test captain was not offered one of the 24 contracts with the Tasmanian Tigers for the next Sheffield Shield and One Day Cup seasons. Billy Stanlake has been poached from Queensland, while Peter Siddle has signed a 1-year extension. Glenorchy all-rounder Nick Davis has been offered a rookie contract. Richie Port remains in the top 10 at the Giro d'Italia. Stage 5 saw players make their way through Sicily. Port managed to navigate this extremely tight corner in the final kilometre of the course, but Frenchman Arnaud Demar had his nose in front of the pack.
It is Demar who does it again, as he did in 2020.
Second place Colombian Fernando Gaviria let out his frustration, bouncing and bashing his bike after crossing the line. And from the Giro d'Italia to Giro de Nullarbor, 2 Tasmanians are preparing to ride a tandem bicycle from Perth, WA, all the way to Adelaide, a distance of more than 2,500 kilometres. Complete with his and her coloured pedals, Phil and Joyce Ogden are hoping for help from the heavens.
We're hoping very much that there's going to be a wind behind us, so from the west.
They're riding to support Rotary's End Polio Now campaign.
Good evening. King Island and Smithton are top today with 19 degrees. Hobart 14. Seems cold, but it's just shy of the average for May. Launceston and Devonport 18 and Burnie 17 degrees. Flinders Island, an interesting one, a low of 15 last night with a 3-degree improvement during the day. Strawn 17 degrees. Low Heads and Helens and Friendly Beaches all 16. Most of the showers over the north and east today to 3 p.m. Grey recorded 8 millimetres under that cloud you see swirling through. A trough has produced all the cloud over the eastern reaches reaches of the mainland. A frontal cloud band developed over southern WA, swirling into a low south of Tasmania. The active trough continues over the eastern states tomorrow and the cold front intensifies to our west. Variable winds at 5 to 15 knots, tending southeast to northeast over the north and reaching 20 knots later over the northwest. Hobart for Friday, 17 after early fog, 18 the top for Huonville, partly cloudy. Same for Campania. Launceston expecting a top tomorrow of 20 degrees with a morning fog patch and possible shower in the afternoon. 19 for Devonport and Georgetown. Burnie a high of 18, a late shower moving in, early fog for Strawn, 18 the maximum, 18 also the forecast top for Wynyard. St Helens partly cloudy and 18 and 17 for Swansea and Port Arthur. On Saturday, showers statewide, tending to rain over the north and northwest with strong norwesterly winds. A few showers over the west, north and central regions on Sunday, and on Monday mainly fine over the east coast with showers for most of the rest of the state. A shower or two in Perth, partly cloudy in Adelaide, a possible shower for Melbourne, wet weather for Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane. Down to 12 degrees now in Hobart, a bit cloudy, showery in Launceston, 13 currently, cloudy in Devonport and 14. I think we'll get away with tomorrow, Kim, but it's going to crack up for the weekend.
Sounds rotten. Thanks very much, Murph. That is all your news for now. We'll be back later with updates. Thanks for your company tonight. Good night.